hearing. It is Orwellian. Do the folks on the other side of the aisle see the worries of our students? The nightmarish upside-down version of a hearing that we are having today, attacking the very people who are trying to keep us safe? The folks on the other side who spent the last election cycle saying Democrats want to defund the police, while they actively say they would like to eliminate ATF, actively said would like to defund ATF. What my students talked to me about was their worry over their own safety, their own lives, their own mental health. What they talked to me about was attacks on rights, whether it's trans rights or women's rights. You know what they didn't mention to me? Regulation of stabilizer braces. That was not on their agenda. It wouldn't have made their top 100. In fact, it would not have made their list at all. We could learn a lot from those kids. And I will continue to listen to them and promise them that along with your help and your extraordinary leadership, we will get this done. So let's go to the actual work that you do. Could you tell me about the work that ATF does? I know you spoke a little bit about the tracing of guns, which is crime guns, which is so critically important. What does ATF crime gun tracing work look like? Could you describe it to us
Sure.
in a little way?
So when a crime happens and a local police department, usually it's local because they have most of the cases, opens a case and they associate a particular firearm with a crime. It's found at the scene or what have you. They then submit a request to ATF to trace that firearm. Now, ATF we don't have a national gun registry by law, so what we can do is we can trace the firearm to its first retail sale that we know of. That's usually what happens. And we don't have that record, so we get the request in, and if it's a firearms dealer that is still in business, we reach out to them and we say, we don't have the record. We say, can you tell us who purchased this firearm? Pull the 4473 and tell us. Then we can relay that information back to the local police departments. They're often conducting very time-sensitive investigations, and they can follow that lead. If it's a firearms dealer that's out of business, they send their out-of-business records to ATF. They have to be stored in a certain format under the law that Congress has passed. We are, I think, the only customer of Adobe Acrobat. We pay extra money to remove search function from that so that we can then try our best to trace it as quickly as we can and get that same information back to that homicide detective, that gang detective, that narcotics detective who's working the case.
The gentleman's time is inspired.
I just want to ask one question.
For 5 minutes.
If you would send to us information
time is expired.
The implications of the Safer Communities Act. Anything you're learning, please send it along to us. Thank you. I yield.
Mr. Fitzgerald is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director, for being here today. Oftentimes at these hearings, I just want to bring some balance, I think, because a lot of figures are tossed around. But I just want to remind people, in the state of Wisconsin, my home state, 422,000 permits were sold for deer hunting over a 9-day season. For the most part, very safe 9 days. It's a huge part of our history in Wisconsin.
Doesn't sound safe for the deer.
And I'm very proud to say that those people also have to be represented today in this room. I want to just change the topic very quickly. In February 2023, I sent you a letter alongside of some of my other colleagues requesting that you and the Attorney General Garland, just give us some input on proposed legislation that would remove certain less than lethal weapons from the Gun Control Act. And what I'm talking about are stun guns. As you may be aware, any less than lethal weapon, such as a taser that uses any type of explosive charge to obviously shoot the projectile, which has wires attached to it, although it's not lethal, it's categorized under the GCA. There's a very low probability, and I have an actual manufacturer that's in my district who has contacted me about this. So what I'm asking